Welcome to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. The Alumni Podcast, where you get to hear the inspiring stories and transformation that DVC has had to offer its alumni. And now, on with the episode.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Sure.
All right, great. And we are live here at DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next. And we have Eric here. So, Eric, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Eric. I was born and raised here in the Bay Area and recently moved back maybe 3 years now. 3 years.
Okay. Well, and I saw, and I don't remember how we got connected. Maybe it was on LinkedIn or somebody introduced me or something. But I watched, you had kind of an interesting educational career, and we'll get to that in a minute. So where here in the Bay Area did you grow up?
I grew up in Hercules.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I attended a couple classes here at DVC, a couple classes at CCC.
Mm-hmm. We'll still let you in.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's all in the family, okay?
And my car's going to get towed.
Wow, it's going to get booted, so we're not going to tow it yet.
Oh, all right.
But so where did you go to high school at?
I went to Hercules High.
Okay.
Graduated in 2006. It was a brand new high school back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that must have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
It didn't smell and the windows weren't broken yet. I went to YB and I graduated in 79, and it was at that point kind of an oldish school, so not as old as Mount Diablo, which is the oldest high school here in Central Contra Costa County. It was the very first high school.
Okay.
So people came from all the way down, as far down as Dublin, and out to the bridge. Well, before the bridge, it would have been the ferry and stuff like that, and came from all over the area to go there. So it was really something. But so Hercules was a new high school. What was life like growing up in Hercules?
Oh, it's a pretty quiet town. It was actually like the development of that town was also new, not at the time, but I would say the community is pretty tight knit because all that development happened at the same time. A lot of new families came in, and so you had kids who, like some of my friends, they've known each other since like kindergarten.
Oh my God!
All the way through high school, went to the same college. They're still friends now, and I would say you see like a lot of little pockets of that. The community now is a little bit older, on the older side, so not as tight knit as it once was, but. There's kind of a joke when you run into someone they know. I was like, oh, I've heard of somebody from Hercules. It's like there's a chance that you probably know who that person is because we've all grown up together.
So there's like 12 people that lived in Hercules, and yeah, you all knew each other. Yeah. Well, I know in Pleasant Hill that has been like that in the past. So what got you from Hercules to Diablo Valley College and CCC?
Well, so after high school, I, take a step back. During high school, my high school did not offer at the time AP chemistry. Oh. And my father, who is a chemical engineer, that is an absolutely important, essential class that you must be taking. So I enrolled at night school at CCC for their chemistry class. So that was a couple courses at CCC. I was also taking PE here at DVC and CCC. And when you do that, you're allowed to not take PE in high school.
Oh, okay.
And then you fill your curriculum with another academic class. It's another way to do that. And then after I graduated, I got into UC Berkeley. And after I graduated Berkeley, when I was deciding what I wanted to do after that, I guess we can go into more detail after that. I took a couple more classes to, I guess, re-educate myself to help prep for the GREs and
GREs.
That's the admissions test for graduate school.
Okay. I didn't go to graduate school, so I've driven past one. Yeah. So that's about it. But yeah, it's like, I didn't get that far in my education. But and that was part of the reason I want to have you on. Is so we have a number of students that I bumped into over the years and actually a few now that are headed off to, they want to go to Berkeley or wherever they want to go, that were dual enrolled like you were. So it's becoming a much more common path for folks, you know. So you went to UC Berkeley. What was that experience like going from DVC and then you head off to Berkeley?
Well, DVC was after Berkeley. The classes I took here, yeah. Okay. But
well, you mean Contra Costa College and then going?
Yeah, I took a course at Contra Costa College. I would say there's really no comparison. The people that enroll at CCC, especially the people who are taking night classes, those people are looking to transform their lives in certain ways, and a lot of them were adults and adults with children, and I was this high schooler in there, and like, what are you doing here, right? Even the professor at the time was like, hey, like, you're this high school kid taking, you know, a college course, like, what are you doing here, kind of thing. But they were also open and friendly with me. It's even, you know, that age difference, we found a lot of common ground. At Berkeley, everyone's kind of, you know, the same age. You're all going through the same experience and transforming and experiencing life all at the same time. So there's that difference there.
Yeah. Well, and also the classes are much larger.
Oh yes, classes much larger. The professor doesn't talk to you at all versus yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you go from like, okay, there's office hours and you get to actually talk to the professor, right, to, you know, this enormous place, and anytime anybody you're going to talk to is a, you know, they're a graduate student that's, you know, their instructor. So
right. I would say that was something I didn't ever learn. It took me a lot of years to learn, was like going to office hours, asking for help. In high school, you have that personal relationship with your teacher, or I mentioned at Contra Costa College. So if you had any questions, you just kind of spend 5 extra minutes talking to, it's like, hey, I had a question on this, or, you know, I never really needed help in high school on my homework. And so I was always just study a little bit harder and you can complete your homework. And I really struggled at Berkeley. And even in grad school, and it wasn't until grad school that I learned, oh, if you go to office hours, you know, they really help you with your homework. It's not just, you know, I always felt maybe a little bit ashamed to need to ask for help. But yeah, no, I was like, oh, my undergraduate experience could have been a lot more smooth, grades maybe even a little bit better if I just gone office hours and admitted that I needed help.
Well, what was it? There's a couple of people that I've interviewed that was the thing that they said the number one thing they learned is use office hours, because it's free. And you're talking to the person that, you know, probably, well, in some cases with some classes, they literally wrote the book, right, that you're studying. And so it's, you know, come explain this to me, work me through this. And it's just, and a lot of times they're sitting there and nobody's showing up.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you can get in there and you can have this wonderful one-on-one with the person that's instructing the class that, you know, hopefully knows way more about it than you do. But I'm not surprised that much by people that don't want to do it, because we have this kind of mentality of, you know, I can do it. I'll just try harder, and right, and rather than take the easy route, which is like, hey, you know, I need a hand. So in between Cal and graduate school, you came back here and did a couple of courses. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, so when I actually went to UC Berkeley, I was pre-med.
Oh,
I was
okay.
Planning on going to medical school. So I graduated from UC Berkeley. I was working in San Francisco at UCSF, job shadowing doctors, working in labs. I did that for 2 years, and I was starting to apply to med school. I took my MCATs, and the personal statement for medical school is basically, why do you want to be a doctor? And then I kind of just stopped, and I was like, why do I want to be a doctor? And the stereotype of all Asian Chinese parents, like they want you to be a doctor or a lawyer. And so I was like, I don't know, my parents told me to go be a doctor, so here I am, like writing, applying to your school, and I realized that's not a great personal statement.
Okay. Yeah. Well, why are you here? Because my mom told me
Yeah,
to.
Exactly. Right. So, and that was kind of like the first time I stopped and was like, what do I want to do with my life? And, you graduate college at like 22. So I was like 24 at the time. It was like, this was the first time I've like stopped and thought about like, what do I want to do with my life? I would say I still don't have a good answer, but I knew it wasn't, I didn't want to be a doctor. That's the only thing that I was able to cross off my list. So kind of had a conversation with my parents, and again, my father, a chemical engineer, he said, it pays the bills. And I kind of thought about it. I was like, okay, yeah. I went to Berkeley. My degree was in molecular environmental biology. And at the time, we, were huge war with the Middle East. Oil was $100 a barrel, and we were talking about, biodiesel and how to, move the country off of foreign oil. So I was like, oh, if I can combine my chemical engineering degree with my biology degree, I can go into biofuels and, help save the world and, make renewable resources. And so that was the idea behind that. And so, came to DVC to kind of brush up on a lot of courses that had, I'd fallen off on because I was focusing so much on medical school.
Mm-hmm. Well, and now you had a why am I doing this?
Right.
At least, as opposed to because mom told me to, or
right?
told
Yeah.
me to. So, which is a lot better. Well, and that's one of the things I really like about DVC is it's that place where a lot of people kind of find themselves. It's like, what am I going to do?
Right.
And they either find themselves while they're going here, or they come back to kind of like you did, which is like, oh, well, okay, I'm going to do this. So you came here, did some kind of like brush up type stuff, and then you went on to where'd you go to graduate school at?
USC.
Okay. We won't tell Tom Martin.
Okay.
He's a UCLA fan.
Oh, okay.
He went to UCLA, and so
Right.
it's like if you say USC, it's one of the things in here. I get to say it because I get the chance to tease him a little bit, but it's just, yeah, he's, so.
Yeah, I get that all the time from my Berkeley friends, because public school is like, oh, now you've crossed over the dark side. Oh, you think you're uppity and rich. Now you're like snubbing your nose at us. Yeah, and that was it was. I would say that was also a much different experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, talk about that. I mean, I've driven past it. That's about the only experience I have with USC.
Oh, I mean, I believe the campus is much like Stanford. Mm-hmm. Where it's all kind of a uniform architecture. Berkeley, they always adopt the architecture of the time. And so the campus, you see all these variety of buildings. There's a lot of nature in it. USC is kind of all paved over. And I would say it kind of just like adopts like what we think of LA versus the San Francisco Bay Area. In San Francisco Bay Area, we have like a lot of nature, where LA is kind of just flat, paved over grounds. US, like, again, that was the hardest I'd ever studied. I thought I studied hard at Berkeley, and it wasn't until I got to USC, I was like, this is how hard I should have been studying at Berkeley. Yeah. I probably can't tell you anything I learned there. I was doing math at such a high level that, learning a bunch of Greek symbols that
Well, it's also, I do know also that USC is not in the best neighborhood.
Oh, yes.
The other side of that wall is just like, oh, yeah.
I was living in that wall, on the other side of the wall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So lots of stories. There was a person shot outside my building. One time the SWAT team came and cleared out my building because they told me someone with an Uzi had jumped out of a van and was running through the neighborhood, and so they were clearing out the neighborhood. Right before I got there, a student was carjacked, and he didn't want to get his car stolen from him, and so they actually killed him. When I was on campus, there was a Halloween party in the building next to me, and there was a shooting there.
By the way, folks, just for Tom's benefit, this doesn't happen at UCLA. So,
yeah, and I would say I've been back a couple of times. USC has done a great job in terms of really upgrading the security of the campus. It's really, you have to show a student ID to get in and out privileges. While I was there, like, I don't want to like disparage USC. They gave me a home in graduate school. Right.
Well, I do want to say it's like in fairness to USC, it's like they are in a tough neighborhood. They've always done a really good job on keeping the inside of the walls very, very safe. They also worked very diligently on cleaning up the outside of the wall.
Right.
But it's hard in that particular neighborhood.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, they've bought up a lot of the land around the campus now, and transformed it for the benefit of the students. So yeah, no, it was a crazy time. I've experienced crime here in the Bay Area and crime down in LA, and it was kind of that feeling. It's like, oh, I am not the cause of this, but it's kind of seems to be like following me around. Yeah, no, I've seen people shot to death, and it's crazy.
All right. Well, I'm gonna be careful not to sit too close to you, but so you get done at USC, and that was probably an amazing experience. And when you're done, so you graduate. So all right. So when USC plays Cal, who do you root for?
Berkeley.
Good.
I went to Berkeley in the Golden Age. Golden Bears, the golden age of the Golden Bears. I watched Marshawn Lynch, Deshaun Jackson, Justin Forsett. We were #1 in the country for about half an hour before we lost the football game.
Yeah, that's unfortunately that's kind of the West Coast curse. So
right,
we're not an SEC team, even if I think one of our Pac-12 wandered over there. But anyways, I did after the Pac-12 kind of evaporated. I was just like,
none of this makes any sense.
Yeah, and I just nod my head a lot and watch a little bit, and then I go out and do chores. So you're rooting for kids. So I have a friend of mine, Jay Lifson, who he went to Cal. His dad went to USC, and so he usually, unless they're playing each other, he'll basically root for each one.
Right.
But then if they're playing each other, he's kind of very conflicted. So yeah. But Tom will be very happy to know that you're at least rooting for the Bears and not rooting for USC.
Yeah. Fernando Mendoza played for us last year. Now won the Heisman.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats to him.
Yeah.
Great.
So on a slight left note, so this is before the Super Bowl. This is the week before the Super Bowl. So based on we got Seattle and we got we've got the Patriots.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for?
Very, very similar. A little conflict there. Seattle. I was born and raised here, Bay Area. Love the San Francisco 49ers. So Seattle. A lot of heartbreak from there.
Yes, there has.
So, kind of always want to root against them, but when it's West Coast versus East Coast, gotta stick with the West Coast.
Well, and the Seahawks, or as some of my friends call them, the Sea Chickens, they've never won a Super Bowl, and I think the Patriots have enough rings to satisfy that. So it's kind of, I know who I'm rooting for, and but it's regardless, and yeah. So we got that out of the way. All right. So so I told you this would be fun. Yeah. So we get done with USC, and now you're out in the world.
Oh.
What are you doing now?
Oh, geez. Yeah. So I go to graduate school with the mentality of I'm going to change the world, with biofuels. Basically, right when I start school, fracking takes off in America.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, my story I'm just a leaf blowing in the winds of the zeitgeist of America's economy.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. So, fracking takes off in America, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go work for the man. It pays better anyways. Pay off, student loans are going to get paid off sooner. And go through 2 years of grad school, graduate. Right when that happens, OPEC says, okay, enough of these American companies. They flood the market with oil. Oil crashes. All the fracking companies, all the companies that had, internships, interviews with, all of that dried up. They're either going bankrupt, hiring freezes. A lot of my friends were in the same boat, and we're just like, I don't know what to do. So I'm in LA, and it's like, okay, well, a lot of my friends from now USC and also Berkeley are from LA. I'll I don't have to work for an oil company. I'll just job hunt here in LA. A couple months go by, then it's like, anywhere in Southern California. San Diego's a great city too.
Oh God, yes. It's like, oh man, yeah. So yeah, my youngest one wanted to end up, she was going to be, what was it? She ended up doing something else, but she was going to be a cop down. She had this whole plan, but it was down outside in one of the little pocket communities of the ultra wealthy, like Costa Mesa or something like that. And she was going to be a cop there, and then she was going to live in a beach house in San Diego. And I'm like, you go, girl. So
I actually I got into UC Berkeley and UC San Diego.
Oh wow!
And my parents, of course, you're going to Berkeley, and I was like, it's like half an hour away from home. I want to get away from home, and they're like, oh, this is outrageous. And I was like, well, let's just take a tour. And we toured it, and my parents were like, I don't know, it's kind of a good school. It's a great campus. The weather's great, and so they were also convinced that San Diego is a great city. Yeah. So I was like, expand it to Southern California, all of Southern California. A couple more months go by. I'm like, all right, anywhere in California. I'm from the Bay Area. Just expand that range. It's almost like online dating where you're just increasing your miles that you're willing to travel. A couple more months go by. It's like anywhere on the West Coast. And a couple more months go by, and I'm like, anywhere in the country, just anyone who will take me. And I actually end up getting a job in Charles City, basically middle of nowhere, Iowa.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
I was unemployed for 8 months, and money was really tight. I was couch surfing throughout all of LA. Some nights I was like sleeping out of my car when I couldn't find a couch. It was pretty rough. So I'm very grateful that when someone in Iowa comes calling, it's like, it's better than what I have right now.
Yeah. Well, plus it's cheaper living.
Yeah, it was.
Iowa's one of those flyover states, and I know that they get there's a lot of hate thrown on the flyover states. Yeah. But there's a reason that they're cheaper, but there's also, it's kind of, they're super basic, so.
My town, Charles City, 7,000 people. There was a family video store that sold VHSs. Like it's almost like a regional Blockbuster, basically. Yeah, you get VHS, DVDs in there. Really, the only store in that town was a Kmart, and Kmart was basically in the middle of bankruptcy. So if you wanted to go to like a Target or a Walmart, you had to drive 45 minutes to the next town, Mason City. Which is one of the cool things was we're also right next to Clear Lake, Iowa. And Clear Lake, Iowa, for, I guess, music fans, is the day the music died. Where Buddy Holly,
that's right.
That airplane crashed right at Clear Lake, Iowa. Yeah. So there's I went to go visit that and see the little placard. So a little bit of, history there. It was pretty cool.
Well, I know that somewhere out there in that world, actually, this would be on Route 66, is the largest ball of string ever.
Oh, I did not get to visit that.
Yeah. I don't know where it is, but that's one of those things that always stuck in my head. It's like, oh, all right, we should be,
Yeah. I really enjoyed my time there. Rent was $400 a month. Talking to my friends here in the Bay Area is like my parking space in San Francisco is more expensive than that.
So I got married to my first wife in 1983, and we had an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment over in Concord off a Monument, and I think our rent was $275 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and actually the neighborhood was fine and everything, but it's like, again, it was like, I look back on that now, and it's like you can't even get a room for a night for $275, at least in a neighborhood you want to be in. But so what were you doing in Charles?
Charles City, Iowa. Self-proclaimed hometown of America. I was working as a production engineer for a pharmaceutical company. It's a contract manufacturer, basically like a AstraZeneca, a Takeda, your Gileads. They would contract their drugs to this manufacturer, and so I was working on a lot of big drugs at the time.
So this was your version of the legal Breaking Bad, where you were making drugs.
Yes, okay. I was making. Right. It was.
You were actually in a place that actually was clean and sterile, and you weren't working out in the desert. All right.
It was cool. I think it was Gilead who came up with the Hep C cure.
That's right.
That was the drug that really kind of the company was getting a lot of money, and the reason why I was able to get hired in that company.
Oh, cool. So, what was that? I'm thinking about it. I've never been involved in manufacturing, at least like with drugs, which I know is very highly regulated, and in spite of the joke about Breaking Bad. But what was that like being at least there and working on kind of the day-to-day of it?
Yeah, the saying about how friendly people are in the Midwest definitely rings true. They gave me a lot of leeway. Anytime I had a question, because this was, I'm 24, 25 at the time. It's basically my first full-time job of like working, especially in an engineering job. It was not my undergraduate background. So everyone was so helpful. I got to work on a lot of projects that, looking back, I was like, I wish I could do that kind of stuff now. And, I love engineering, especially production engineering, because it seems like a lot of goals align in what you do. I'm trying to make your job safer, more efficient, and in turn, you can, make products faster, and the company loves that too. And so we're all working for, the same goal. And it's not just, I'm trying to squeeze another dollar out of you. It's just, how do I, it's taking you 4 hours to do this job. What are some, roadblocks in you doing that? And working hand in hand with the operators. It's like, oh yeah, why, that doesn't make sense. Why can I, engineer a solution for you? Can I look up something online on how to do this easier? And then the operator's happier, and, they come to work and it's like, oh, this is great, and they come up with ideas and give it to you because they know you're trying to help. It's really fulfilling in basically any way you look at it. And so I really enjoyed my time there.
That sounds awesome, and especially because you had a collaborative environment that you were working into, where it's like you weren't just like some kid that was coming in that kind of mess with their stuff. It was like you're there, you're improving efficiencies, making their job easier, and then also taking their ideas and creating, folding that into the workflow and everything like that.
If I may, one example of that was for controlled substances, like we were making like hydrocodone, hydromorphone, and the FDA has very strict regulations around the handling of that material. And so if you're an operator, when you're done with the material, there's actually a huge vault that we put the material in, and you have to hand it to me with the person with the keys to the vault, and we have to, every single drum, we have to weigh, sign off, that's 100 pounds, and it's even like more specific, it's like 101.2, right? And because we're on such a large scale, some of these batches, 40, 60, 80 drums that we have to take, put on a drum scale, verify the weight, put it back on a pallet, and the whole hallway is filled with this. So this is one of the projects that I was assigned. And it would take maybe 2 hours to do this transfer of you and me signing each individual drum, and talking with the operators. Like, they make drum lifts that have a scale on them. And so I kind of do this research, and you need one that reads the down to the correct significant number of digits. So working on that, I was able to cut, I don't want to say me and the operator were able to cut that time down to 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Right? So from 2 hours to 30 minutes.
Right. So instead of like taking that drum, putting it over to the drum lift, bringing it all the way back, they could just pick it up, you and I look at that weight, sign off, drop it, move it to the next one, pick it up, drop it. That's one of the projects I'm probably most proud of, because sometimes the solutions doesn't have to be that difficult.
Well, it's just like you went out and found a tool.
Right.
I mean, and I don't want to make it sound like that's all you did. It's like, but having the initiative to do that and then figuring out how to, so that I'm sure the bosses were really ecstatic about that.
Yeah, exactly. Right. We're talking about the alignment of goals, and now that frees up an hour and a half of your day to go do something else for the company. Yeah. That's what they think about. But well,
I know, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like, I look at it like, okay, if I'm sitting there weighing drums for 2 hours, there's a point where it's just like you're going, oh God.
Yeah. And there's a lot of manipulation, because that
a lot of opportunities to get hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of
so the risk assessment people are very happy about that because you made it less risky. And oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
You're a king.
No, I'm not. No.
So you were doing that for a while, and what came after that? Because you're here. So
I worked in Iowa for about 2 years, and then a job recruiter called me and said, at the time you didn't have any job experience, and I was going through my resumes, and I realized you probably have a couple years of experience now. I think basically he found me on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I have...
Ready? You found him on LinkedIn like I
did. And he was basically saying that I have a exact same job for you in Sacramento.
Oh.
And he called me basically in the middle of winter, and I took the phone call in my car, and I just looked around. It was gray and gloomy, and it was probably about 10 degrees Fahrenheit, and I was like, I'll take the interview.
Didn't even care what the job was. No, fly me out, I'll be there.
And I mentioned I loved that job in Iowa. I interviewed, and basically, they were actually direct competitors. It was another pharmaceutical contract manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I love this job in Sacramento half as much as I love my job in Iowa, this is probably going to be the rest of my career.
Yeah, because it doesn't, well, for one thing, it doesn't get to 10 degrees in Sacramento.
Exactly.
If it does, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I took that job, moved out to Sacramento. Actually, I had saved it. I kind of make this joke. It was almost impossible to spend really any money in Iowa. On Thursdays, the local bar had $2 turbos, and turbos of vodka lemonade. I had a personal goal for my 2 years there to try to get a $20 tab at a bar, which is like one drink here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I made it to $18 twice, and I was like, I could go to work tomorrow. I can't do it. But like the Midwest, Levi was my bartender. I'd walk in on Thursdays. He, look at me, pour my drink. He knew exactly what I wanted. The whole cheer song where everyone knows your name. It's a really tight-knit community. It's another thing that I really enjoyed there. But quit that job, moved to Sacramento. I had enough money to put a down payment on a house out in Folsom. So I was like, that's how committed I was, that I loved that job. I'm going to love this job. Best laid plans of mice and men. Just hated that job. Everyone has a really good saying about that. Best laid plans of mice and men. Mike Tyson's like, everyone has a plan until you come in and get punched in the mouth.
Yes.
That was a great punch in the mouth for me. Was that Sacramento job. Was
the environment or?
It was a union facility.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was eye-opening. I kind of talked about how supportive management was in Iowa, and it was completely night and day in Sacramento, where
it's much more adversarial.
Yes. Yeah. I think the union itself, I don't want to speak poorly on unions, but they're there to protect every job of the union.
Mm-hmm.
When you take that to an extreme, when you have bad acting operators, I don't want to say sabotaging the product, but sabotaging the process, or like when they say they come into work and not feeling like they want to work that day. And it's my job as an engineer to, let's go make some drugs or, do something today. And if they tell you no, I have no recourse. Management was at a point where, anytime they want to look to fire a union employee, they have to go through arbitration, which involves lawyers, and it's very expensive. And from my perspective, management got to a point where they no longer wanted to go through that process. It seemed like they had lost that enough times where they're like, okay. And so it kind of builds that culture where operators feel like they can get away with anything. And so it made my job very difficult. And then management, because they couldn't put any blame on operators, they placed a lot of blame on engineers who, as I mentioned, were powerless because we have no authority to.
So you were stuck. You were really stuck. So did you go looking? So since then, we'll get to. So you're now at Eco. Was it Eco
Services?
Eco Services. So
yeah.
did you go directly from there to Eco Services?
No. I was still great friends with a lot of my undergraduate people I met in undergrad at UC Berkeley. And speaking to one, he was like, if you're looking for a job change, we have a job. We're purchasing a company in Wisconsin, and we're looking for someone to head that up. And he was, I believe you have the skill set to do that. And again, it was one of those, I don't know how much longer I can last at this company. It was an honest feeling of, if someone doesn't die at our facility, I believe that someone outside our facility will die from taking a drug that is going to be poorly manufactured.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was, it was, it's like, I have to get out of here. I don't want to be here when something like that goes down. So I ended up taking that job in Wisconsin.
And truth be told, my mom is from Wisconsin, and so I haven't. Well, actually, I've been in Milwaukee in the winter, but
where in Wisconsin is she from?
Rhinelander.
Oh, where is that?
Yeah, exactly. It's a town. So I have a couple of friends out there. A friend of mine, Paul Mascarian, he knows where Rhinelander is. He has a cabin not too far out of it, but it's up north. And it's a town.
Door County area or where?
I'm not really quite sure, but it's a town about this big.
Okay.
And it's known as the home of the hodag. And so you should look up what a hodag is, because it's what happens when a bunch of farmers get drunk and build this critter. And there's this whole lore that goes with it. It's awesome. And so I grew up in Alaska, which has got a lot of the same similar culture in that. It's like not much to do, you start inventing tales and stuff like that. Yeah. And they have a good culture too. But Wisconsin, I really like Wisconsin, and it's a little more interesting than Iowa, but the weather's fairly similar.
Yeah.
So that must have not been too much of a shock to go there.
It was like, I've experienced the Midwest before. I definitely can't work at this job. And it was, going to work for those 2 years, like, man, if I ran this place, I'd do it so differently. And it was a chance to kind of put the money where my mouth was.
Okay.
Because, I was, I guess the official title was president of that company.
Oh, wow.
Very, very small company. So I don't consider it.
You and 12 other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I worked at that company too. Here's your titles. Like, okay, you're looking around and see there's like, Bob, and there's, Pete, and there's me. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, my title is president, but I'm here, plumbing the toilets because we don't have any money to get the plumber, right? Yeah. So,
And how was that? What was that like? I mean, other than Wisconsin really is nice.
Yeah. No, lived in Milwaukee. I would say that Milwaukee / Wisconsin didn't get its fair shake. Mm-hmm. I moved out there in 2019. Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So 2019, and that first year I was like, really dedicated to my job. It was a brand new industry I'd never worked in. I was quote unquote president. I was like, I have to learn everything I can. And the reason why the company was being purchased was the founder of that company was retiring. Mm-hmm. And so I spent that first year trying to learn as much as I could from him before he decided to step away. And then 2020, COVID hit. COVID was 2 years. After 2 years, having not really socialized, living by myself.
Well, we all became pretty feral.
Right, so, yeah.
Just to be fair.
Well, I will say this, that I am mostly an introvert. Mm-hmm. And so COVID for me, I don't think was as bad of an experience as many people, tell tales about. For me, it was really just the traffic got better to go to work.
Oh yeah. Well, and even though I don't look like it, I'm more introvert than extrovert. Mm. And it's like, for me, it was awesome because we got sent home from the office. I was commuting down to Newark from here, which is, just a crazy commute, and got sent home for 2 weeks in March. Never saw the office again. And and it was like awesome, but yeah, it's like the few times that I was out on the road for something, it was like, oh, there's like nobody out here. This is cool.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when, I was living in Milwaukee, and I worked about half an hour north in two cities, Grafton and Cedarburg.
Yeah.
And the hospital in, I think it's Cedarburg, that when the COVID vaccine came out, that was, I think that made national news. The pharmacists there purposely left the vaccines outside the refrigerator.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I was like, oh, that's the hospital I drive past every day. It's right next to Costco.
So you know where that disaster was.
Exactly, yeah.
I was right there, man.
it was very interesting to see, and I right when I left Iowa was when Trump's first presidency was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, seeing a lot of my coworkers realizing, on Facebook, Facebook for me was still popular at the time, not so much anymore, but seeing what my friends were saying about all the Trump supporters and living in Iowa and seeing
but you
all
knew them.
Yeah.
So it was like,
exactly.
No, that's not who these people are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that was where we talked about the divide in the country, like seeing that firsthand, where it's very easy to, have feelings and say things about people that you have no idea about. And I would say the reverse is true for those people in Iowa, but I definitely understand the pain and hurt that those people in Iowa are going through. That town of Charles City was one of probably the iconic middle-class towns that we had in America. I think it used to be maybe 50, 70,000 people. So 90% of that town is now gone. It used to be a huge manufacturing town. A lot of people had great jobs, and now like the entire, we talk about flyover states. Not only are they flyover states, they're brain drains. All those kids, they go off to college and they look for jobs out on the coast. So none of those resources that the state is putting into those kids, end up coming back to that state.
And we forget. I'm just thinking about this. We forget because there's always talk about the Rust Belt,
right.
which is like when I remember the '80s when all that stuff was really going away. It was going overseas and stuff like that. It was really the start of it. And then the Japanese and Chinese and Korean steel, and they were shutting down steel plants, and we don't think about all the manufacturing like in Iowa and Wisconsin and all these other places, right, where it's like, and it's got to be even more devastating because it's not even making the news.
Right.
So it's just like you're looking around going, my town is dying, and there's a Kmart, which that's gone down.
Right.
And it's like, so you got to drive 45 minutes. Well, in some ways it's like being in, Rodeo, where you got to drive out of town to get to, but it's only right over there. But still, it's like looking at your town just disintegrate, and nobody's talking about it.
No one's talking about it. And, Trump, for better or worse, was the only person who started talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get some hate for that. But I agree with you. It's like nobody talks about it. And it's like there's these other issues, which are all very valid issues. But at the end of the day, it's like that's the sort of thing that...
you have to vote to the issues that are facing you and threatening your everyday life. So, that was... Yeah, I think I have...
We got farming, and that's about it Iowa's got a bunch of stuff going on out there.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and that's, and Cambrix. Cambrix, actually right next door to Cambrix is Zoetis. They made pharmaceutical drugs for animals.
Oh, okay.
So it's two companies right next door to each other.
Okay.
It used to be one company, they split off.
Are they still out there?
Yes.
The rent has got to be cheap.
Yes.
So that makes it, well, truth be told, that's why back in the 80s or the 90s, I think it was Gateway, they set up shop. They were manufacturing computers.
Yeah.
And they mail ordered them, and it was awesome because they set up in like South Dakota or North Dakota or something like that. People are like, why out here? It's like, rent's free.
Yeah.
And everybody is like, hey, why not go out and rent an entire house for $12 a month?
Right.
And but yeah, I mean, I could see why they would want to stay there as long as they can attract the talent that you need. And I'm sure the people that live around that thing, well, they may not be directly employed by that. Those two manufacturing facilities have got to make up a huge, probably all of that town's resources.
Yeah.
Around here we have kind of the same thing going on in that, was it Valero is leaving.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a huge hit to Benicia, and it's a huge hit, and there are some plans somewhere down the road to, swap that out with something else, but still, it's like you start carving off all these pieces of manufacturing around, and for all good reasons, but it's like the amount of impact it has on the community is always amazing to me. I think there was a Marathon, I think it was put out that their plant directly affects something on the order of between 25,000 and, some enormous amount, between restaurants,
for sure,
cars and automotive, right? So it's amazing. So, I mean, the place where you at, I'm glad to hear that it's still going, because that's probably the biggest game in town for that particular poor little town. So, which is still snows, eyeball deep, and it's freezing, and all that stuff. All the reasons why I don't live in the Midwest. But so anyway, so we got sidetracked.
No worries.
But you got up 2020. And, you're locked in your room, and you found that to be quite exhilarating, because then you didn't actually have to meet with people.
Yes.
I got a shirt that said that at home, it's just like, this is why I don't do this, all this right here. Because it's just like, I don't want to see people.
It's a great shirt.
It is. And my wife hates it when I wear it. So she's like, that's not that, she's the extrovert of us. So,
okay.
So you're down. What happened with that particular experiment there, or that you getting ready to get that thing going? You're in COVID. You're locked in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Oh man. I wonder how I tell this part of the story. So at the exact same time COVID hit, my father, here in the Bay Area, he got, it's called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And it's where your immune system attacks your motor nerves.
Oh my gosh.
And it was very rapid onset. Supposed to be temporary. Most cases last between 1 to 3 weeks. He was out for 9 months.
Oh my gosh.
So I forget what holiday it was, maybe President's Day holiday. He had that Monday off, and so Sunday he was riding his bike. Monday he was like, and then basically Tuesday he couldn't walk to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
And was in the ER, and I was flying back and forth from Wisconsin in the middle of COVID.
Which was a really terrifying time.
No one else is flying, so you had the whole plane to yourself.
Oh, that's good. See, there's always upsides.
Always positives. Always positives. And so that was occurring, that was rough on my mom. I'm an only child.
Oh, geez. Okay. You were all the support she had.
Exactly.
Okay.
She was also working at the same time, so she was going from the hospital, sleeping at the hospital, straight to work, straight back to the hospital to try to care for my dad, because you lose function in your legs. It works all the way up, and he was quadriplegic for quite some time. Can't feed himself, can't use the restroom. You gotta get a whole team to try to get him to use the restroom. It was rough for my mother, so I was flying back trying to relieve her. Just, hey, go home, get some sleep, and it's impossible to sleep at a hospital.
Yeah.
All the beeping, the nurses checking in, making sure that no one has died yet.
Well, they're always like, get some sleep, and then they're poking you with stuff and taking blood pressure, and
and it was also like, when you go to bed, you take for granted like all the little movements just to let you get comfortable, that he wasn't able to do. So yeah, the last nurse comes in around midnight, and then try to go to bed, and it's like 2 a.m. He's like, Eric, you still up? And it's like, yeah. And it's like, hey, can you move my arm just like a little bit to the left? He's move my leg, just a little bit to the right. And it's like, is that it? And it's like, we'll try that. And half an hour later, it's like, no, you gotta move it this way. So maybe fall asleep around 4 a.m, and then 6 a.m. the first nurse is coming in.
So you got an hour and a half worth of sleep. And, man, that's got to be rough.
And then a couple months after that, my grandma got colon cancer.
Oh, jeez.
So, and it was, around that time. So COVID, 2 years, Dad, 9 months of being...
He did recover from
this. He's, I would say he's probably about 90% back, but then, there's like basically, he has to learn how to walk, feed himself again. Basically, physical therapists are amazing. The way they come in and, they have to lift the spirits of everyone around them. And, I'm like looking at my dad and I was like, I don't know like how this is going to work. And they just come in with like the biggest smile, and they make you believe that you can do whatever they ask you to do. And so, the physical therapists that help my father out is like, they're amazing. So 9 months after that, a year of rehab, my grandma in the middle of that gets colon cancer. And so I was kind of looking at my life and saying, I need to come back and support my family. And so my half step of that, being president of this company, is I can't just put in a 2 weeks notice and walk away. A lot of people, not just at this company, are depending on me, but the customers who are relying on my products. So I gave basically almost a year notice. It's like, hey, my lease ends on this date. I don't plan on renewing it. And the halfway step of that was I applied to UC Berkeley's MBA program.
Oh.
They have an executive program that meets basically 1 week in a month. And so it's like, okay, this will force me, regardless of what's happening in my life, to fly back to California, check in on my family. So that's, luckily I got in. Thank you Berkeley again for accepting me. They have a term for that, a double bear. So I guess that's how rare it is that.
Well, and that may offset a little bit of the USC. For some people, it's just like you did have that USC in the middle, but you bracketed on either side the double bear. So So you've got 2 graduate degrees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of money spent on education.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any smarter for it.
Oh, don't worry. I as I get older, I feel dumber every day. So it's just
one line on your resume too. It's like, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But so you then go through your year of traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
Doing your MBA, basically handing this company off to someone else, which had to be kind of bittersweet in some ways. And you get back here, right?
Yeah. So the plan was just focus on my family. I didn't have any job lined up. Moved back. It was actually, I don't want to say funny, but the first week of class for that MBA program, my grandma passed away the day before.
Oh, geez.
So, and then that first class was, they call it leadership communication, and it was all about being vulnerable, how to be authentic to your workers, and a lot of sharing your feelings.
Oh, geez.
I spent that entire week crying very hard.
Did your grandmother live here?
Yes. Okay. She's from China. She immigrated here, as well as both my parents. I was born here, but for my final, there was one story you're supposed to tell that it's your call to action, something that like profoundly impacted you in your life, and so you feel deeply about it, and so it's your call to action to the rest of your classmates on what to do. And I ended up telling a story. At the time, my grandmother was in hospice, so when they assigned this final at the beginning, I was like, I don't care about this assignment. I just want to go home and, be with my family. I had assigned myself just a throwaway. I was like, redwood trees, California's going through a drought. These are, national treasures. They're the tallest tree in the world. And I had this whole presentation that I was going to give because I didn't care. But after that week of sharing feelings, I ended up telling a story of my mother had really bad morning sickness with me, to the point that the doctor had recommended abortion and my parents had agreed. And it was my grandmother who convinced my parents to kind of stick through with it. And so well, not just my mom, not just my grandma, but, my mom, who decided to put her own life at risk to carry me to term. And so that was something that was really profound for me. Yeah, so I moved back. I finished my second graduate degree at Berkeley. And it's kind of the same thing, where there's another downturn in the economy. And I was kind of looking for a job and thinking that my resume kind of spoke for itself. Nope. Yeah, another couple months. Luckily, I had some savings and I was living with my parents. So free rent's the best rent for everyone who's like, hey, I got to move out. Don't do it. I paid for my own rent. It's expensive. Money goes out quick. But then my father, who works at Eco Services, he was like, hey, they're hiring. And so put in my resume and they hired me.
Okay. And what do you do at Eco Services?
I was hired as another production engineer. About 5 months into that, the maintenance manager retired. They were trying to hire for that, but then the plant manager, who kind of knows my background because he had worked with my father for so long, just like, hey, why don't you apply? And so now I'm currently the maintenance manager at Eco Services.
Okay. You like it at Eco Services, right?
Yeah. We're a sulfuric acid plant, so we manufacture a product that eats our plant from the inside out. So being the maintenance manager and trying to keep everything running has its own challenges.
Did this used to be General Chemical?
No, this used to be Rhodia.
Okay.
Rhone-Poulenc, it's right on 680, right before the bridge, Benicia. It's right next to what used to be Shell.
Yeah.
Martinez Refining Company. Okay. We service Martinez Refining Company, Valero. So Valero leaving is a huge hit for our business as well.
I have a friend of mine who he was a plant manager. He was a general manager for General Chemical, and he had to leave because that's a tough world to be in.
Yeah,
corporate. And he just would get up in the morning and be like, it was tough, especially when there were meetings with the boss, higher up.
Yeah.
So you're basically you're manufacturing a product that's trying to destroy the plant that's manufacturing it.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So and should it do that, it's really bad for everybody.
Yes. A lot of, actually in 1992, that refinery had a huge accident and one person died. And I'll say this, it's that this company and the company I worked for in Cambrix, two best safety cultures I've ever been a part of. It's sad that the reason why they have such good safety cultures is someone did pass away due to an industrial accident. But that legacy, some of those people who were a part of that accident still work there today.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They are very close to retirement, but they do uphold that culture of safety. I've worked at a number of places that we haven't touched on, and visited a lot of other plants. Yeah, and I'm very proud to work with these people, and I want to carry on that legacy for them because, as a manager, these people, we always say that you see the people at work more than your own family, and I do believe it's my responsibility to make sure that they all go home safely to their families.
Well, and especially in an industrial environment, it's so easy to get a little relaxed and everybody likes a relaxed environment, but when you're working in an environment that can literally kill folks that work in there, it's better to not be quite that relaxed,
Right.
Well, I'm glad that you take it that seriously. Now we're going to come around to something you mentioned earlier, which I was like, oh my gosh. So you have this amazing piece of kit on, right? You got to show it off,
Gotta rep it.
Yeah, that's right.
I wear this more than my UC Berkeley gear.
Oh, hey, yeah. And where did you get that piece of kit from?
This is from my now fiance, Caitlin Bove. She works here at the music department. Yeah.
We have to give a shout out to her. That was like when I found out, I was like, whoa. We love Caitlin because she does such an amazing job with it.
I think I love Caitlin a little bit more.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, all right.
I don't know.
We'll talk about this.
We'll talk about it later. And actually, we absolutely adore her. How's that?
Yeah.
So she does such an amazing job here with the music department, the stuff that she does. We're just so excited to have her involved. And the thing I love about her is her attitude of like, it's like, hey, can you do that? Oh yeah. And then one of the things she started doing, I think it was this fall. There was a conversation that was had in here with Tom and Jim, is to raise money for her program, right? Because like money's tight everywhere, and everybody's got budget cuts. She basically takes her gang of musicians off to the BART station and busks.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I'm going, oh my gosh, this is like, that's gangster.
Yeah.
Because and I know that she does fairly well with it, but it's just that she would come up with that as a solution.
I would say this about DVC and just the professors in general that I've experienced here. Caitlin and I, we've talked about when the lottery is like, $1 billion, $1 trillion, something like that. She's like, if I win that like all that money's going to my music program. I'm like, can we get, I don't know.
Can I at least buy a car, maybe some tires for the car I'm driving?
A couple million, there's out of these 100. She cares very deeply about this program. I would say the classes I took here, there's also very similar. I took this math class and the professor was so good. No calculators. I love that approach, and I meant to look him up before this interview to give him a shout out. I remember at the time when I looked him up, he actually worked at the University of San Francisco, and he would spend his summers here just, I don't know if it's an extra paycheck or he just wanted to help out students who, really looking to move on to a university. But all the professors here, great.
Well, we have some, there's a number of professors that are here that are teaching chemistry and physics and this and that and the other thing. And the reason they don't go maybe teach full time at like Cal or Stanford or San Francisco is not that they don't have the chops. It's just they don't want to be doing research. They want to spend time like this. They also don't want 500 kids in a class. They want 30 people in a class and extra, and working directly. They want the human interaction, and I think that speaks a lot to the culture here at DVC, is that's really the thing that comes first, is the students. It's just like, that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
So we should actually get Caitlin in here for an interview. So
okay.
I think I'll reach out to her. You can tell her I'm going to reach out to her.
Okay,
I think
I will.
I think it'll be a lot of fun because she's got an amazing program and she does great things with it, So
yeah.
So we're wrapping up. What do you think the future looks like, other than you're going to marry Caitlin? Hopefully.
For personal, or
in general.
Oh, the economy, the downfall of America. What are we talking about here?
Well, actually, let's back up. Let's back up a little. We'll skip that one because it's like, these are turbulent times. What would be the piece of advice you would give yourself, your younger self? Like if you go back 10 or 20 years or something like that, a young self that's like percolating along through the world, what would be that piece of advice?
Yeah. This question kind of comes up, and I don't want to say I like the way I am today, but I would say that all my slips and downfalls I've learned from, and it's made me a better person. I think instead of, giving a piece of advice for my younger self, maybe it would be like, hey, you can do this kind of thing. There's a lot of uncertainty, but the younger person, I would have confidence that they would work through it. I think it would be more of, what would my younger version of myself tell me? Like, what did the younger version say, hey, this is who I want to be when I grow up? And I think I've lost a little bit of that I think I'm a little bit more I don't want to say a little bit more pessimistic. I'll deal with that. And, that, I think that's what I would want to go back and, hey, like, what kind of, there's always like, when I'm a parent, this is the kind of parent I want to be. And I never wrote any of that down. And, this is the kind of person I want to be when I grow up. I think that's what I would want to go back and talk to my younger self and be like, hey, when the person I am now, is this what we wanted? And if it's not, like, there's still time for me to be that person. I think that's when I want to talk to my younger self. That's the kind of conversation I want to have.
That's actually a really good. I'm gonna have to keep that question now. You get first credit for it. So no, that's a great question. So I really want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. It's been fantastic. This has been a great conversation, even for two introverts.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to DVC Alumni, where every story inspires the next, the podcast for the DVC Alumni Association. You can contact us at alumni@dvc.edu with any comments, and be sure to leave a like and subscribe to our podcast.